Oh, hello.
Wow. I miss that music. I miss that music a lot, Chris.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since we've heard that.
Oh, it's nice.
I think the last time I did one of these videos, Nathan did it with me, didn't he?
Yeah, I was on holiday. I do that sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, so you've gone 2 months without that glorious little song.
Yeah, it's a glorious song. The dancing thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to Japanese Knives 101, where Chris and I share jokes. Jokes flow like a glacier, and they're funny like anti-maskers protesting at a hospital.
Wow.
You're
pulling out all the stops today.
Is that a good description? I think the best thing to do, ask us anything. That's what Japanese Knife 101 is about. If you're there, give us a shout, give us a thumbs up, and then say, hey man, I got a question or a comment, and we will answer things. If not, we are going to talk about, so you're headed to culinary school.
Yeah, apparently we're supposed to have come up with the top 10 things I learned in culinary school. I don't know what those are. I learned how to poorly turn a potato. I learned that in culinary school.
When you say turn a potato, you mean just like spin it on a plate?
Yeah, like a top.
Oh,
or the old for the pomme fondant, one of those.
So where you give it the old, it looks like a little wine
a fancy
barrel
little football. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I can't really do that. I can't do that.
Bad at doing that. Oh, we should probably announce who we are. So this is Japanese Knife 101. We're going to talk about culinary school and culinary schools. That's back to school time. Maybe we'll talk about what to wear when you go to school. I don't know. But nice shirt. I would wear that shirt to culinary school.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm Kevin Kent, joining you from Knifewear, Calgary. Yeah. And above me is Chris Lord from Knifewear, Ottawa. Sometimes he's called Lordy. And for whatever reason, he seems to have what am I saying? He's got like a fan club for some reason.
Apparently
you can go to our website and buy Team Lordy t-shirts. Look how angry he is. Look how angry that one.
I'm not really that grumpy. But, Mason clearly thought I was to put me on a t-shirt like that. I should get one of those t-shirts before I go and shave one day. As a reminder of this ridiculous. I got the talk this morning that was, or was it yesterday? It was, your hair really is getting quite ridiculous. And I said, yeah, I know. I'm aware. So the difference, though, Kevin, is I think you actually brush your hair.
Yeah. But
I don't.
I saw a picture of Iggy Pop the other day, and minus the Iggy Pop body, him and I are sharing a really bad haircut and facial hair situation. So I'm looking I look like a 70-year-old man who's had a rough life.
Has been seen rolling in broken glass. Peter had a good joke there. I don't know if it's a joke or if he actually read this, but I heard a story online that you guys might find interesting. Apparently there was someone visiting Japan who got the words jacuzzi and yakuza mixed up. They ended up in hot water with Japanese organized crime.
Lots of funny.
That would be on par with the types of jokes that are told here. And then our
jokes are funny like anti-mask rallies at hospitals.
Yeah, and Don Penny says he can't watch live today. Silly new job where they expect me to work, so I'll have to watch later. Yet he has to be watching to have sent us that message. So if you're Don Penny's new boss, he's clearly hard at work.
He's clearly slacking off and literally he has very poor judgment of what he watches, very low standards.
Yeah. So you want me to go over some of the housekeeping? We got some housekeeping.
We've got some big news. And do you have? Okay, you've got news. You start.
But I don't want to say the news that you might want to say.
I got big news.
Is your big news about Sharp Knives Rock?
That's big news.
But is that your big news?
That can be. I've also got other big news. I just got a lot of news.
Cool.
Okay. 2 months.
So I'll stop babbling and I'll get to it.
You know, I got new tattoos, Chris.
What?
Yeah, I got new tattoos. I got new piercings. I was on an island. I've got everything going on.
Wow.
I get recruited by the Green Party. Yeah. I saw Sasquatch.
Well, you've had a much better week than me.
I've been busy.
Yeah. Well, so next week we've got episode 5 of Sharp Knives Rock, which is supposed to be our good show.
How
the
about
one where we try really hard.
It's a TV show where me and Naoto host. That we've got videos that we launch. We have guests. We have challenges, and it's better than this.
Yeah, we try a lot harder.
That's not hard.
Yeah. Kevin and I had a brief 4-minute conversation prior to hitting live today.
I ate an apple for most of it.
Yeah, we actually
my new coffee mug.
We write a script for the other one. So that's coming up next week. So that's going to be on Monday, September 20th. At what time is it? 3 p.m. Mountain Time? Is that correct? 3 p.m. Mountain Time, 5 p.m. here in Ontario. And we've got another giveaway.
Big giveaway.
A big giveaway.
Like, over $500 giveaway.
Yeah. So what we've done is, what do we call it? We're calling it the Instant Chef Just Add a Knife. So it's everything else you might need, all the small wares, a knife bag. I saw a great picture here on Instagram. I don't actually have a list of what's in it. I'm sure there's one if I asked, but there's all kinds of fun stuff in here. There's a knife bag and a honing rod and peelers and chef presses. And excuse me. There's a medium rare apron. I think there's a $100 gift card to Joey Restaurant, because we got a Joey Restaurant in every city where we're located. There's the Gestura spoon. There's all kinds of cool stuff in this. There's one of those crazy little Japanese can openers that I haven't bought yet, but I've been meaning to.
The Japanese one or the French one?
I don't know. The picture's got the little Japanese one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I used that one recently to open a bottle of wine, and you know what it did? Pulled the cork right out, and I drank the wine.
Whoa.
Just like I said on
promised.
Just like I said on
promised and delivered, yeah. So we're going to have a couple of guests on there too. We've got Darby from Joey Calgary is going to hang out for a bit. We got the knife roll giveaway. That's pretty cool. I've got on Chris's notes. Yeah, over $500. We've got we're going to have a musical guest, Nick from the Foul English. I've got a little Foul English patch. It's not on the.
That's right.
Yeah, you gave me one for Christmas.
Hold on, I'll go get I've got a Foul English record here.
Yeah, go grab that. Yeah, so if you want to check them, I'll put this up in the chat. If you want to check them out, they're like an old, like kind of like Brit punk kind of band. So I'm gonna put their Bandcamp up in the chat here for you. Give them a bit of a check, but that'll be fun. They'll be fun, and yeah, should be a lot of fun.
So we got Nick here from the Foul English with his White Falcon guitar.
Oh, so you like guitars like that,
baby? But I think he's going to show up with an acoustic. Here's their record. Check it out, Chris.
Oh, Bubblegum Pink. That's
vinyl.
Fun.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with the pink vinyl.
The Foul English are kind of like a real British-sounding punk rock band in Calgary here, but they're all 50.
That's the way it should be.
So they call themselves dadcore punk.
I like that. I can get behind that. We got a couple of questions here, Kevin.
What?
Our buddy DJ is wondering if you got any news on what to expect for the garage sale. I know we're only in September, but I'm already ready for the garage sale, is what he says.
I've ordered, and I don't know if it'll happen, but I've ordered Agami Super and Ishime Finish, Hanasuki's, and Nikiri's from Moritaka.
Oh, cool.
I've ordered some of the long Kurosaki tuna knives.
Oh, you see a lot of those on Instagram.
I've
Kurosaki's
ordered
got a good
some more Damascus from Mizaki.
Ooh.
I'm hoping we get another Tamahagane knife from that swordsmith that Shibata
Oh,
sent.
yeah.
And there's some more things up our sleeves, but I don't want to get too excited and name them off right away.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what anything's coming. So, bum. And then Steve says, who are your top 3 makers for Shirogami knives? That's a good question.
Fujiwara?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say Hinura, but those don't exist really. He makes so few knives. Masashi makes brilliant Shirogami knives. And well, everybody, because most blacksmiths in Japan like to make Shirogami because it kind of shows off what they can do, right? It's kind of it's kind of a good test. And I don't know. I'm gonna put. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pick somebody who's retired. I'm gonna pick Kato Senior. Pick Hiroshi Kato just for fun, because he showed Kurosaki how to use white carbon steel for the Yashimo lines.
Yeah.
And that was like straight out of Kato's textbook. So I'm gonna pick Kato-san because he inspired a lot of blacksmiths too.
That's a good answer. I like that.
Did I run over you there, Chris?
No, not at all. I'm just trying to think if, like, so you said Fujiwara, Hiroshi Kato, so Kato Senior,
and Masashi.
Yeah. So I really like those. Like, so we've got a couple of Masashi's like single bevel knives that are made with Shirogami.
Oh yeah.
And I wish I was right-handed. They're still. There's like one of the Kiritsuke Yanagibas in the shop, and I really like it, but I'm afraid I'd never use it because I did my first cut like a chef class in a very long time over the weekend.
Did you cut yourself?
No, didn't cut myself.
Look.
Oh, did you teach a cut like a chef class?
No, I picked up a knife by the blade this morning for breakfast.
Oh, that's the wrong end.
I stuffed my thumb right into the point at the heel.
But I did a lot of like trying to show people how to do, because like when you go to do like the oblique, like the little roll cut carrot, everyone always struggles with that one until they get it. But I'm left-handed, so it was like mirrored for everyone. And I don't know if that made it harder, but it was a hard one for people to pick up this time around. So there was a portion where I was doing it with my right hand so slowly. Like, and it's fun. Like, you would think that it would just work, but it does not. It was it was a big it was very scary using the wrong hand there. What else we got here? We got DJ Sergiotto was wondering about how often Fujiwara is in the workshop. I don't know. I watched him. I was there a few years ago. I watched him forge a bunch of knives.
Yeah, last time I was out there, which was now about a year and a half ago, actually coming up on 2 years, he was still forging then. He doesn't do it much. It's like anybody, right? He's got a good team, and he's also getting on in years. You got to understand that I'm 50 and I find blacksmithing really hard, right? And he's got 25 years on me. Yeah. Right? So, it's a tough job. He's in the shop all the time. People are under his watchful eye, but he doesn't work very much. At one point he forged all of the Denka line. So he's got the Nishiji line, the Abaroshi, and the Denka line. So there was one point where he forged all of the Denka knives, right? And where he forged and had really hands-on to a lot of the Mabaroshi knives, and then really his apprentices as employees made the Nishiji line by themselves, more or less, right? Whereas he does have an eye on the final product all the time. He's a bit of a taskmaster that way, but he's given up a lot of the heavy labor to the young guys because he's just not a young man anymore.
Yeah, it's hard work. It's like I guess
hold on. I just want to make one quick point about this too. That I hear a lot of this talk like, oh, he didn't make it. It's not as good as if he made it. That's just ridiculous, right? Because I ate at the French Laundry one time, and though Thomas Keller was there, I don't think he cooked the food I ate exactly. I don't think he cooked everything I ate, but it was fantastic.
No, I bet you he wiped the rim.
I'll bet he wiped the rim. I do know that he was staring at me through his camera. Do you know about this, Chris? He's got cameras in the dining room set up, and the waiters have prescribed places they have to stand at each table so they're not blocking the camera views.
Do you ever read anything about Charlie Trotter? Like Lessons in Excellence or any of the books or anything about him?
The only thing I know about Charlie Trotter, outside of, what everybody knows, is that when I was working at St. John, he took the chef at the time, who I took his job in the end, but he took Ed to Chicago, and they did Charlie Trotter meets St. John. They did a very Charlie Trotterized St. John meal that they'd planned for about 8 or 10 months. It was such a lot of work. And when Fergus and Ed arrived, he had all, because it's upstairs. Charlie Trotter's restaurant was upstairs, and he had all the staff that worked there come in early, and they all stood up the stairs, and they were just standing there giving an ovation all the way up the stairs.
Yeah, how awkward would that be?
Fergus said it was really awkward, and plus his Parkinson's really bad. Then it was hard for him to get up the stairs.
Yeah, I suppose.
So Ed was, I'm sure, because Ed was really good. I'm sure Ed was probably walking backward, kind of helping him get up. But pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool experience.
Yeah, I remember.
Anyway, you were going to say something smart.
Well, so there was this book, he had 3 books: Lessons in Service, Lessons in Excellence, and Lessons in Wine or something like that. And I read the Lessons in Service and the Lessons in Excellence, but it was all about no wasted movements and things like that. So what he would do is, just because you mentioned the cameras in the dining room, all of the wait staff would have double-sided tape on the bottoms of their shoes so they could vacuum the carpet as they walked over it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Which is very different from, again, back to the St. John and Fergus, because I remember one day looking on the dining hall and the floor was painted white.
Yeah.
But it was just worn through. You could see where the tables were. You could see where the paths that the waitresses took, right? It was a very worn out floor. And I just said to Fergus, when I said, we got to get this painted, man. And he goes, Kevin, it took us 11 years to get it looking this good.
But it's true, right? I don't know. People don't always want to go. I can't imagine St. John is because it's so, everything is white, right? The walls
are
quite
austere.
Yeah. That would be that would offer quite a bit of warmth, having something like that.
So, what a crazy guy. I miss that dude. He's crazy.
Do you think S. Buckle, who said Yasha Yukawa makes some serious dope knives, that last Tamahagane Nakiri looked epic?
Yeah, it was also felt epic, Mr. Buckle.
You think that's Sean Arbuckle? I think it might be.
I don't know.
And DJ, if you want to have only one Honyaki, who would be the blacksmith? Do you go with someone from Sakai?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, you go from someone in Sakai. Do you go from someone in Sakai Takayuki's stable? Because Alice Cooper Alice Cooper made a career out of hiring the best session musicians and the best touring musicians. That was a big thing. He talks about always wanting the best guitar players and the best drummer when he toured. And Sakai Takayuki takes the same approach. And they just they work with the best in Sakai. They've been around the longest. They're the biggest. Aoki-san is the president of the Knife Makers Guild in the area. He's the board of directors on the museum, the Sakai Kitchen Knife Museum. He's the head of the board of directors, and he's just kind of he's got a lot of sway. So I would say if you were going to do that, just go with whoever they've got in their stable. They will have the best guys. They've got the best polishers. They've got the best sharpeners.
Yeah. Sean Coots. Sean Coots. I've seen Alice Cooper. Can confirm.
Yeah. I know. He asked me to play acoustic rhythm recently.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Apparently, we're going to do some Grateful Dead songs and a bit of Bob Dylan. And I thought, well, that's pretty good. I can do that. But I was busy that weekend, he's moved recently, but we had a customer here in Ottawa named Robert, who used to be a rock photographer. And this isn't the Robert that used to come to the shop and threaten me.
No, different Robert.
Okay.
No, he's not allowed in anymore. He was rude.
Because he threatens me too many times.
Yeah, he was rude. Yeah, you're allowed to threaten. There's I won't tell you how many times, but there's a number that you can get away with, and if you cross it, you're done. But this guy Robert was the guy. Remember, we sent you that picture one time of Eric with the Han Solo blaster.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, Robert. He had all kinds of friends who were in filmmakers and musicians, and he had the coolest stuff. And he'd always bring it by to show us. And yeah, really awesome guy. He was one of the first guys in Ottawa to treat your book as a collector's list. Oh, I have one from this guy. Puts a little tick up in the corner.
Like a shopping list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what? I don't have one from everybody on that list. I don't have a Hanura yet.
No. I don't either, Kevin, for what it's worth.
Hey, can we talk about books for a second?
Yeah, I like books.
I'm writing a book.
I knew this.
I'm writing a new book, Chris. Working title. It's not a real title, but the working title is Food, Knives, Japan, and a Bike. So a lot of people ask me to host trips to Japan. And frankly, you would hate it because after the first day, I would hide in my room needing some alone time, and I would be really short and unpleasant.
I've traveled with Kevin. He's really good for the first little bit, but then
I was good the whole way.
Yeah.
Maybe
I'm trying to back you up here.
I'm not a tour guide. I would be garbage at it. I would have fun for a day and then I'd be sad.
Yeah.
But I thought I would write a book that kind of would touch on the kind of adventure I have in Japan and a lot of the things I've learned in Japan. So I think it'll be informative of culture and food and knives and humans that I meet along the way and bicycles, because I really like bikes. I don't know if you know that, Chris.
Yeah. You remember that time that guy fell off his bike when we were in Kyoto? It is the same guy. The same guy who kept trying to get us to go to a certain bar.
That guy
fell right off his bike.
Hey, look, Chris, I don't know if you've seen it. I'm going to click this off here. But there's my bike with the pink tires. That's new.
Ooh.
The pink tires are new.
Ooh.
I thought you'd like to see that. Everybody likes pink tires.
And Kit says, hello from the Hide Master. We make leather aprons and knife holes. Thanks for the informative sessions. You should, here, we'll put up the old hello@knifewear.com. If that's your game and you want to have a chat about that sort of thing, I'll find it here eventually. It's hello@knifewear.com. If it's, that's the email address.
Send us an email, hello@knifewear.com.
Here,
Unless
you know
you've
what?
got a complaint, If you need to complain about us, send it here to Chris.
Oh, I did the same thing.
Send us a complaint at tv@knifewear.com. That's where the complaints go. And make sure that you understand that our names are Chris Lord and Kevin Kent.
Yeah, Chris Lord, Kevin Kent.
That's important. By the way, Sean Buckle says he's not Sean Arbuckle. He's Sean Buckle from the States.
That's okay, too. But what are the odds?
Might be better, because I think one of the Seans we're talking about once told me if I was going to vote for a certain political person that he would unfollow me from all social media. And I said, okay, that's who I'm voting for.
Nice. And how did you get over that? You seem to have.
Well, I talk about it a lot. Like, for example, that's the first time I've mentioned it in 6 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Your unfollow game is generally quite strong. You're no Jeff Singer, but you're pretty close. Well, should we maybe, until a few more questions roll in, what are some things, like, you didn't go to culinary school the same way that I did.
No, I went because I was in prison.
Kevin went because he was in prison. It's a news story for me. But I realized this week, I was telling a story about culinary school, and I realized that I didn't really know how to cook until I went to culinary school. Like, I worked in a restaurant, but I only knew how to make the things that were on the menu. I didn't actually understand of how things went together. I only knew how to replicate, the 50 items that were on the menu of the restaurant I worked in.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked
until about last year.
Oh, you've just figured it out, hey?
Tell you what, I think it takes 20 years to figure out how to use salt properly.
Oh, Corbin. Well, nice to see you. Corbin finally got to join live. Well, sorry, Corbin.
I'm sorry,
you better
Corbin,
have some
but
questions.
It's going to be as shitty as you thought it was.
Oh, DJ's got a good question. Do you think, and I know what Kevin's answer is going to be, do you think there's anything wrong with stainless clad carbon knives, or do you prefer traditional soft iron clad carbon knives? Well, I'm going to take a step back just in case, because I'm sure a lot of people know like all the knife terminology, but just in case you're kind of new, when we say cladding, we're referring to something like a layer of steel on the outside of another layer of steel. So the majority of Japanese knives are made out of 3 layers of steel, right? So I'm going to take my show notes and I'm going to cut them up so we can see the difference here. So when you've got a knife that's clad, hopefully this pocket knife is sharp. I can do this. There we go. How embarrassing would that be, right? So you can't make a knife. Like, the reason why we like Japanese knives so much is because the knife makers in Japan use harder steels than other knife makers. And the harder the steel gets, the reason why this is important is because the harder the steel gets, generally speaking, the sharper the knife can get and the longer it's going to stay sharp, which is ultimately what we want to happen with a kitchen knife, right? Like, you don't want a knife that's knowingly going to not get sharp and get dull very quickly. Mm-hmm. So it's very difficult to have a useful knife made out of an ultra hard steel, just all on its own. Because you drop it, it shatters, it's very brittle. So what they've kind of grown to do, what they've learned to do, is to put a softer steel on the outside. So if my phone is like the hard carbon steel, well, what they do is they put softer steel on the outside of it. And what that does is
it's not dissimilar to your phone case, right?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Your phone case is the same thing. It's like a shock absorber for when you drop your phone. Mm-hmm. And that's what the cladding does. So cladding it with softer steel does that. That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
That's a smart guy up there. Don't let the looks fool you.
No. So I personally really like a knife. Now, I'm not a traditionalist, okay? And I often get called out in this particular forum for
cutting onions
being
wrong.
a little more pragmatic. All right. But I really like a knife that is so. We're talking about carbon steel versus stainless steel. Essentially, what happens is if you put a certain amount of the element carbon mixed with iron, you get a carbon steel.
We get steel.
What happens?
Steel needs carbon and iron.
You get steel. Yeah. What happens is that the carbon in the steel reacts with with oxygen, and which comes through
you
water.
Mean the iron? You mean the iron?
The iron. The iron does. Yeah. Shit. I went to culinary school for a reason. Okay. What happens? Rust shows up. Right. Your knife gets wet. It rusts. But a carbon steel knife will generally speaking, get sharper than a stainless steel knife. So what they've done in this case, and what DJ is asking, is the traditional idea is to take the really hard steel and put a softer iron on the outside, like a Moritaka knife. That's what they do. But then what's become a little more common is to take your hard carbon steel and put stainless on the outside, which does the same thing as far as a shock absorbing, if that's the name of the game, it still does the job, except now the whole knife, like the maintenance level for the knife drops because only a small amount of the knife has the potential of rusting as opposed to the entire knife.
Yeah, think of it like a bologna sandwich, right? Where the bologna is carbon steel, but the two pieces of bread are stainless steel. So it's just a little bit of bologna that sticks out. So it's a lot easier to take care of. Yeah. And if you talk to Takeda-san, who's swapped over from having soft iron on the outside of his knives to stainless steel, he's done it because he thinks it makes a better knife because it's easier to maintain and less likely to bend. So because he makes super thin knives, right? And like if you take, like I've got a 14-year-old knife from him, and it's super thin, but the blade itself can bend. Like it's just too hard on it. You can actually just like bend it with your hand. Yeah. Because it's so thin. But the new technique he's doing with the stainless on the outside, they're so rigid. You can't bend them.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, they're not as bendy as they used to be, which is great. Which is really great.
And that kind of loops back to we were talking about Fujiwara earlier with DJ. Fujiwara and his father kind of were pioneering that technique years and years ago. They've grabbed the credit for being some of the first to do that, which is it's pretty awesome. I think it's very, very smart, and it makes it like
it's the best way to make a knife. It's the best way to make a knife.
Well, it makes a carbon steel knife much more accessible for most people.
Right.
Like my mom, for instance, has a couple that are like that carbon steel with the stainless on the outside, and it makes it and it's never been an issue. Right. Now we do a pretty good job of explaining what the care involved with a particular knife is. So a lot of our customers don't even know that there is a struggle, but it tends to freak out the odd person. Someone gets, especially like as a gift, you give someone a knife and it gets rusty, and then everyone yells at each other.
Sean Coote says he didn't know how to use salt until he worked with us, so that's good. DJ's got more. It looks like DJ's on the hunt for a
DJ wants a Denka. And he needs us to tell him that.
DJ should get a Denka then. Now, here's a trick question. He says, Kevin, do you like the red Paca wood Denka handles, the classic black ones? Are they more your cup of tea? Or I'm going to add, or how about the ironwood ones, Kevin? And you might know the answer to this, Chris. I have 3 210 millimeter Denka Gyutos.
Yeah.
I think that is the knife that he makes the best, and I've got one with a red handle, one with a standard black handle, and one with an ironwood handle. All Western handles. I don't really like his knives. With the Japanese handle, I don't think the balance is right for me. I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
There you go.
The I know our buddy Nick Vitito, who I worked with here in Ottawa before he moved out to Vancouver. He has a 240 Denka with an ironwood handle.
Nick's only 3 feet tall.
I know. The knife's
He's not
half as big as him.
But I'll bet he's 4'11". That's a huge knife for that dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see. Listen, I'm gonna see if I can find all three of my Dankas here. I think
Cool.
one's not in the building.
I'll keep everyone occupied. I've got a couple of new knives here too. Maybe I can show off one of
I'm
those.
hoping you have the Rusan knives.
Oh, I do.
Oh my God, really? Chris,
I got a
while I'm
couple
being
here.
rude and ignoring everybody, you should show everybody those new Rusan knives, and then you should tell me what you think of them. Because I have an
Well, I'm
opinion,
quite a big fan.
and my opinion's quite high, to be honest.
Yeah. So, they come in this really snazzy box. And that might not matter, but when you open a ton of knife boxes in a day, it makes a lot of fun. When the box is fun, you know?
It's just nicer.
Yeah. I don't know. I liken it like a nice knife in a shitty box is kind of like buying a car and they didn't put gas in it, you know? I think my chair's going to fall apart. So this is... Yeah, DJ, I think I've only got good things to say about Ryusen. This is the ATS 314, but you might have heard us say something very, very similar before talking about Manaka, because Manaka-san uses ATS 34. So, but these knives, they're so thin. I think the fit and the finish on these knives, Kevin, is like among the best ever.
I think they're of the classiest knives we carry.
Yeah.
Like I think they're truly, truly classy.
Yeah. And they've got, this one in particular has got this really, it looks like a maple handle, like a bird's eye maple. But the handles, like if you look at them, they kind of taper down. Try not to cut myself. You see that? Like it tapers down, like it's like an octagonal handle. This is like a really weird thing for me to zone in, so I'm so tight, but but they kind of like look at how it tapers in. It makes it a really comfortable handle. Yeah. Well, there's a bunch of knife questions now. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Spanishawa. I came by on Labor Day this year at the Ottawa location. What was that really thin stock Nakiri, Kurochi, and in the middle of the store? Could have been a Fujimoto hammer tone. That's really thin and near the middle of the store. Kurochi. It's probably my guess. Does that sound familiar? Let me know if that sounds familiar. And if you remember approximately how much it costs, that helps me quite a bit. Yeah, Jeremy is saying, hello, what is your preferred size for a petty knife? And in your experience, what is a good size petty knife for versatility of different tasks? So Harayuki is a company that we deal with quite a bit, and they make almost in every line, they make a 135 millimeter petty. And I really like that size. If you want like kind of a one and done, that's the way to go. Because I find, this is going to sound, maybe I'm being picky, but I find a 120 sometimes is a hair too small. And a 150 can maybe be a hair too long. Now, I use a 150. Like I have a Mugen Hap 40 petty, a 150 that I use a lot. But I'm not a little person. I'm quite big. I got big mitts. So a 150 does me really, really well. But some people might find it too big for everything. I really like it as a bit of a butchery knife in lieu of a boning knife. I really like it.
You and I play that game together. That's a trick. Okay, I've got an opinion about that. But I'm going to take the maximalist approach. I prefer a 120 and a 150.
Mm,
I like a 120 for little jobs, and I like a 150
Yeah.
for slightly bigger jobs, like fruit prep with a 150. I'll even use a 150 to do things like a carved chicken, or I'll use it
Yeah.
for small boning jobs too, like boning,
Yeah.
like deboning quails. Oh my god! If I ever have to do that again, I will die.
I start that with scissors.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Cut the back out and you can snip it
back
all.
right out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you can poke the legs out.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
my.
you're smart. Talking about kitchens, you and I used to work in restaurants.
Yeah. My chair's
and
going to fall apart. I got to fix my chair.
Well, I've been out of restaurants now for 14 years, Chris. I hardly have a knife callus. I've got no burns on my arms. I've had a very I'm in a very different situation than I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
I don't know
I'm
if you
6
know
years
this,
out.
but on Thursday morning I have to go and do a prep shift at the Joey Kitchen at Eau Claire. Joey's a range. They have a chain of restaurants across Canada and some in the States now too.
Yeah, they've been opening up down in the States.
And their buddy, my buddy Kevin Wall, who's the I don't know what his title is. I think he's like the executive chef for the Calgary stores.
Yeah, I met him, right?
Yeah.
I met him at the warehouse once. Yeah.
Anyway, he has asked me if I wanted to come in and we're going to film it for the next Sharp Knives Rock episodes, which you're going to see Monday at 1:00 Calgary time. I think 3 p.m. Monday, 3 p.m. Mountain Time. It'll be live, and we're giving away a whole knife roll with everything you need to be a chef at chef school, except the knife. So it's like $500 value of everything you need.
That's pretty cool.
Which is awesome. Just add a knife and now you're a chef. Et voila. But I'm going to do a prep shift there, Chris. I'm doing the 7:30 to noon prep shift there.
You're gonna work hard. Like they're a busy spot, eh?
They're so busy, and he says there's so much cutting, and I think there's a good chance I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
And I don't have whites. He's like, "Oh, I got whites for you tomorrow." And I was like, "Dude, I don't think you're nearly as big as me." So I might have.
Fun.
I think I might have very small whites that will say Kevin Wall, which is close to my name, but not exactly.
Yeah.
It'd be like if Kevin Wall and Steve Wall had a kid. It would be Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin Kent. I don't know what I'm saying, but anyway, I do know that I'm scared, and they're waiting for me, and they said they would give me as much coffee as I wanted. So that's
good. Good.
But I fear I'm going to cry, and I fear the whole world is going to come crashing down around me.
Oh, I'm sure someone will try to make a fool of you. I was telling this story the other day because I was chatting with a guy. He recently moved to Ottawa, was a chef in Toronto before.
Yeah.
And had worked at some Oliver and Bonacini restaurants. He worked at Canoe, actually. He was working at Canoe.
Listen, that's a fantastic place.
And I was saying, I'm like, oh, that's funny. I did a stage at Canoe one time. And we were kind of shooting the breeze a little bit. And he's like, maybe you were there when I was there. He's like, what'd you do that day? And I was like, well, it was lunch service. And I worked garde manger with this guy that everyone just called Bear. And this huge, huge guy. And he knew him. They worked together. And then, so this is when I worked at the Wellington Gastropub. I did lunch service at Canoe. And then I ran, as fast as I move, which isn't really a run, about 10 blocks away. And I went to Luma, which was their newest restaurant at the time, but that's the restaurant in the Toronto Film Festival building.
Right.
And I did a stage there, and they were brand new, like 2 weeks open, like super busy, pretty crazy. And there was this one guy, they put me on like entremetier, like for those of you who don't know all this chef jargon, like the veg station. I went on the veg station, and I was shelling peas or something. This guy just had me doing his prep for the next day. And he was yelling at me and giving me a real hard time until eventually the chef just came in. His name is Patrick Chris, and he's gone on. I don't remember the name of his restaurant right now, and it's a little embarrassing that I've made it this far into the story. But he's consistently on like Canada's top 100 and so on. And he came down and just looked at this guy and he's like, I don't want to have to put money in the swear jar. Will you F off? He's here to help out. He's not looking for a job. If you keep this up, I'm going to give him yours. And it was just, it was pretty
so that's
funny.
when you moved to Toronto, was it?
Yeah. So no, it was pretty great. What else we got here? Fred has asked about any news on a Takeda 170 Bunka. I sent Nalto a text. He's the only person I know who would know. He's probably got it on a spreadsheet somewhere.
Mr. Takeda's factory slowed down because he's a bit under the weather right now.
He's kind of had a hard run the last year because there was the flooding too beforehand.
He's getting older, What is like you look out the window where he forges and there's a river there and it flooded. Right?
Yeah. So he had some damage to the workshop and DJ was asking earlier about the size of Ryusen as a factory on a scale of 1 to Masashi to 10 Sakai Takayuki.
Well,
now I think I saw the building, but
it's kind of a funny question because they like Sakai Takayuki. The Sakai Takayuki doesn't do everything in house, right? Yeah. They work with different craftsmen that have their own businesses and their own facilities, so they move product around from here to there. They do a tremendous amount of work, but their facilities aren't that big. So if you're talking about the size of their factory floor or how many employees they have, Sakai Takayuki is not the best example. Tojiro, that'd be the biggest factory. Tojiro, and they're huge, right? And they do everything in house.
Yeah. Because I don't really remember it being that big of a space.
It sounds like 2 buildings.
Yeah.
Right. But they send things out for different productions, right? Like they send out to the heat treater, for example. Most of their blades are stamped. A few of them are hand hammered.
Yeah. So that answers Admiral Longstash's.
So,
and you know what?
DJ Sargento or Sergiotto. Hey, I got my new glasses on. Everything. I can't read still. Doesn't help my dumbness. I think the big answer there is 5.
5. That's a fair answer.
And everything's still, even though they're doing stamped knives, the majority of them, like it's all still hand polished and hand sharpened and it's all hand done, right?
They're gorgeous. They're absolute
listen, I'm I'm a massive fan of those, right? They're gorgeous, and I think they're the perfect knife for so many people.
Yeah, they've been like a lot of people.
They've also been leaving the shops fast enough that I can't get one.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. Like a lot of the people who have I don't know how to I'm not trying to sound like a dick when I say this, but people who've got very distinguished collections, have been just snatching them up.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, oh hey, like there's a fella in today. I sharpened his 195 Denka Nikiri. And I said, oh hey, what do you think of this? And I handed him one. And he said, yeah, sure, I'll take that. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. All right, I'll pack it up. That's not what I meant, but by all means, please. It was, but it's really it's because when you get it in your hand, if you know a thing or two, you realize how much work has gone into the knife. So.
Do you know what? We should really make a video next time I'm in Japan. We should make a video about what we mean when we say factory-made knife versus hand-hammered knives. Because I'll tell you what, all the processes are the same, except you miss the first step where a blacksmith either hammers the steel or they have it professionally layered in a factory and then punch out the shape of the knife. Yeah. After that, all of the processes are just as hands-on, just as much skill and work and
the work, the work is the same. It's the starting point that's different.
Yeah.
right? It's like a
I know
grilled
we
cheese
say
sandwich.
I know we say factory made knives, and I think people just think it's going to be like made by robots or something.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's just a bunch of skilled craftsmen still. It's just one guy's job is to use the polishing machine and polish. So that's why you get a nicer product, because he's going to polish 150 knives a day every day.
Yeah. Well, it's
Right.
kind of, you get someone who's like, you know, like we talk about how awesome Masashi is. Masashi does all the steps, right? Takes them a little bit longer. But if you get, just like Kevin's saying, you get one guy who just like sits there and works that polishing wheel and knows exactly what he's doing. How's that? That's not worse. That's better, isn't it? Like,
It's like a session musician that comes in and plays guitar for your band when you're recording, right? He's just a guy that knows what he's doing, and he's really good at it.
Yeah. So
listen, I tried to find all my Denka 210s, and I couldn't. I'm missing one. Like I said, I know where it is. It's just not here. But I've got a red handle on one of these 150s. I got two 150s.
Yeah.
I got a red handle one, and I got a antler handle one.
I remember the antler handled one. You snagged it out of my store.
I've got the ironwood handle.
Yeah.
210 Denka. I've got the red Paka 210 Denka.
Yeah.
And I'm missing the standard one, but like I said, I know where that is. I just have to.
Yeah. I used, when I taught
go
my
get
cut
it.
like a
But
chef class.
when you're
on
asking
Saturday.
me which do I prefer, the red or the black, I don't know. I've got one of each. I got the red, the black, and the ironwood. So I don't
Depends
know
on the
what
day, I suppose.
I prefer all of them. That's the problem.
So DJ is saying he is. Oh, I see what you've got there. While you unwrap that, I'll do a couple comments here. So DJ has rounded or kind of tapered off some of his wah handles with sandpaper. Grant is saying, how did that work out for you? Depends on the Moritaka handle, Grant, but for a long time they were rosewood, and then they were cherry, and now they are walnut with a Paka collar on each one of those. So the Paka would be like a resin treated wood, but the rest of it is just oiled. So it shouldn't, whenever my handles get like kind of dirty and gross, I give them a good sand before I oil them again.
Yeah.
Fighting Usyk said hello. Oh, I thought I had more to go than that. So, but yeah, I don't know.
That's too much rock for one hand, Chris, right there. Rock and roll.
Oh, two.
Too much rock for one hand.
Two of them. Wow.
I know it's a lot of rock and roll. It's heavy.
It's a lot.
Rock and roll can be heavy sometimes, man. You got to lift it.
It can be. So.
Listen, I really want to talk about Sharp Knives Rock coming up. So we've got this TV show that I think the 5th episode's coming up. This might be the good one. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
We're going to be talking about back to school. We've got a chef coming on to interview him about what it's like working in the industry. We've got Nick from the Foul English to play us in. I think he's going to play our Sharp Knives Rock intro song live and play us out with some stuff, and an interview with him in the after show called Dish Pit. We've got Chopstick challenge between the chef and the rock star.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see how they do. I've told them to practice because it's harder than they think.
Oh, it's so much harder.
It's so much harder. But can you imagine we still beat Naoto, both of us, even with poor timing? Poor Naoto. Anyway, we've got the big giveaway, which is everything you need except a chef's knife to be a chef. So it's got a spatula, and an opener, and a corkscrew, and a knife roll, and blade guards, and a $100 gift certificate for Joey. I think there's a medium rare apron in there. There's honing rod, there's a scaler, there's tweezers. Basically everything you need that we sell, that's all chef curated stuff, except a knife. So you can be a chef, just add your own knife. And it's over $520 value.
Yeah. There's the Gestura spoon, which we're super stoked on, and the chef presses. I use those too much. Chef press. I don't know how I kind of got through life without them. To be honest with you, like I use those. I have 3 of them. I bought 3 of the heavy ones. So they come in an 8
I
ounce
bought
and a 13
4 of the heavy
ounce.
ones, then I got 2 more of the heavy ones.
Yeah. I could probably use a 4th one. But like, I don't know. They're perfect. Yeah. I don't know. They're perfect. I love them. Like, because one of the things, like, I usually get like one of the staple menu items at my house is roasted sausages. And I usually get the leftovers. And I'll cook them up for breakfast. I'll cut them in half and like sear them in a pan with a chef press on top. And then flip them over. And then same thing. And you get double. It's like when you cut the ends off of an egg roll before you deep fry them. You get more crispy caramelized sausage. Is better that way.
That is a dirty, dirty move. Cut the ends off for spring rolls.
Yeah.
You are a filthy human.
I didn't invent that. There's just a great place here in Ottawa called Golden Palace. They even they sell the egg rolls at the arena where the Sens play. That's like one of the foods you get when you go to see the Senators play, are egg rolls, the open-ended egg rolls. For more oil and deep frying.
When I went and saw the Sens play, I had some weird food there.
Oh, yeah?
Well, I went to a Cobra dinner there.
Oh, really? Oh, you would have had really weird food then.
Do you remember those?
Yeah, I did one once. I did 2 of them. I was invited to cook at 2 of them.
Well, you can tell us more about that, because that was a lot of fun.
It was.
I got my name on the list like just before the Ottawa store opened, and the week it opened, they were doing one, and I miraculously got selected to be a guest then. I think it was rigged, but I was okay with that.
But it was like this kind of like secret supper club. So what they did was that it was organized by 2 chefs in town. Well, Mark Lipin was one of them, and Trish Larkin. She owns Bucci Pop, which is if you want to try kombucha, but you're a wuss like me, Bucci Pop is really good because it's really sweet and fruity, and it doesn't taste like vinegar at all. And I like Bucci Pop a lot, but I don't love kombucha. And they would organize a night and get 4 or 5 chefs to do everyone would be responsible for a course. They did a couple of bigger ones, but what would happen is there was this weird, I wonder if it still exists. There was like this weird website. It was just like eatcobra.ca. And you would just put your email in there. I typed this into my work computer. I hope nothing too untoward comes up. Yeah, no. Okay.
What kind of thing might come up?
I don't know. You never know. I always don't look anything up weird on my work computer. But yeah, so you go to eatcobra.ca, and it's just a couple of pictures. And if you click on one of them, you put your email address in, and then that would put you in the lottery for these dinners. And what would happen was that the idea was they were things that you wanted to serve in your restaurant, but maybe you couldn't. So there was usually a lot of, if you went to it, there's nothing there anymore. But I did wild rabbit once because you can't serve wild animals in Ontario. People would do it would be guts or eyeballs or all kinds of other crazy things. And I did like a braised, and then it was actually very St. John. I did like a braised and then fried rabbit at the first time I did it. And then the second time I did it, I did trout ribs, barbecue trout ribs, which was very strange to phone your fish supplier and say, can I buy 200 trout skeletons? So, but you would go, but then there was always be like this like really weird, you would get an email that you were kind of selected to attend the dinner, and then you'd get like a really strange set of instructions. Like it might be like, go to the corner of Bank and Third at 4:15 on Friday, whatever. There will be a man in yellow rubber boots and a red umbrella. Like, it was very kind of like Cloak and Dagger, and then you'd go and there'd be like another like 8 people or whatever. But the entire thing went to like everything went to charity. Like, the cost of your plate went to a variety of charities. They changed it each time, I think. But it was a lot. It was cool. It was a neat thing to be a part of. It kind of reminded me of, you hear about those like secret supper clubs, like more on the West Coast, like in Portland or Vancouver. I think that's how the book Stanley Park ended. The guy ended up running one of those. So, yeah.
We got an interesting. Okay, well, one, I have to say, I went and had bear corn dogs because we had the Cobra dinner I went to was at an Ottawa game, a Senators game, and we got a booth. We got like what's it called, a box.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it was super fun. Super fun. We had a cocktail that had, let's say, a herb that used to be illegal in Canada, but now is not.
Oh.
So we had gin. We had a gin and weed cocktail, I believe.
Okay.
Not I believe, we did. And there was a bear. We had bear sausage, corn dogs.
Okay.
And a bag of crispy pig's ears as little snacks, and other weird things. There was a really weird ice cream cone. But I don't remember everything. That was a while ago now, and a lot of things have happened in my life. But that was a fun meal. Yeah,
no, it was crazy. Grant Hendrick you are correct. The collar is pack of wood on all of the Moritaka handles that I discussed.
Pack of wood's just easier to deal with.
Yeah.
We have an interesting mention here saying, may I add more description to the knife specs, like blade height and thickness at heel. And I'm looking, because he said he can't find it on the Takeda knife. Well, I'm looking at a Takeda 210 Kritsuke, and it has blade height on it. A lot of our knives don't have that kind of information, although we're slowly adding it.
Yeah, we're trying
because the handmade stuff varies.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to sell a knife that says it's this many 1.2 millimeters thick, and then when you get it, it's 1.4. Right? Because you're going to be upset with me then. And the point is, it's got to do with it's a handmade product. And they're all slightly different, right?
Especially with Takeda. And that's why Takeda. And Takeda's knives, that's why they're labeled as small, medium, large, extra large, is because there's a ton of variance in between.
Yeah, like we were selling this one, it says blade length 210, but he calls it small.
Yeah.
Right? He calls it small, medium, large, XL, that sort of thing, because he knows how much they vary.
Yeah.
So we do have that information on the website, at least some of that information for most of the knives.
Yeah.
But, and it's slowly, as people ask questions, we measure them and then put them up on the website. But it's a slippery slope for us because I don't want to, people need to understand that these are approximates, right? We're not, as soon as we sell that knife that we took the picture of, we're not measuring the next one and then changing the stats on the website, right? And then change it again the next time that knife sells. That's not how we can't really operate that way.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a full-time job.
Ask us questions. If you go to the website, there's a pop-up window that says, "Hey, I'm here. You got a question?"
Yeah.
We're open.
Yeah.
Stores are open. There'll be someone there to answer your question. Talk to them live, chat, or you can send hello@knifewear.com an email. And they'll answer.
Yeah, and
there's a 1-800 number, and it's 1-800 something 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 something. And
1-800 7 numbers following that.
Yeah, and if you go to that number, you might talk to Nelto, you might talk to Ellie, you might talk to Brenda, Tiffany, Nathan, myself, Mike. Any of us might answer the phone.
Yeah, it depends on who's beside the phone. But it's not crazy for us to measure those out. So like, Hovhannes, if you were looking, like, let's say you wanted something that was like, I would prefer the thinnest one, I would prefer the thickest or the tallest or whatever. That is totally within our wheelhouse. We do that for people all the time.
Yeah.
help you find the right one.
Yeah, that's what we want to do. We just want you to find the right knife for you, like the perfect match for you.
Yeah. So, no, that's super, like super easy.
Yes.
For us to do.
We have the blade heights on them, actually. So there you go.
Fighting Usyk might. I don't know if Fighting Usyk heard you talk about your new book, Kevin.
Oh, well, he's asking what's the status of the Knifewear cookbook. Never? Did we promise somebody a Knifewear cookbook?
I don't know.
Oh, that sounds like something. That sounds like something we did when. Remember that episode where we both got drunk?
You mean most of them?
Well, a number of them, certainly during lockdown.
Yeah. Yeah, the ones where you see the red background behind me, I'm probably not drinking because I'm at work.
When we started doing this show, we used to drink a lot.
Yeah.
Like I remember
Sharp Knives Rock, though, I've definitely had a drink before we started.
Oh, yeah.
It just makes me better, you know? Like
I won the sharpening competition. Drinking gin. Fight News Success. Come on. Nathan liked the idea of the cookbook. So I guess Nathan's writing a cookbook. That's great. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to read it.
I'll write that down. I'll hold him accountable, set some deadlines.
Yeah, we got to set some SMART goals, SMART, which stands for something timely.
Yeah, I didn't read that one either. Michael L. had a good conversation with our friend Colin that ended in a Manaka Nakiri.
That'll happen. That means you and I got matching knives, Michael L. And I love his knives. Love his knives. In fact, that's the knife I'm thinking that I'm going to take to Joey Restaurant on Thursday and do my prep shift with that. I'm thinking of that and bringing that and the Nigara Hamono.
When did that happen, Fred?
Who's Norm Macdonald?
Norm Macdonald he was on Saturday Night Live. He's a comedian.
Oh.
He's an Ottawa boy. I didn't know that. Oh,
did that just happen just now?
Yeah, within the last hour.
Oh my God, that doesn't sound good.
No, his older brother is actually a good customer of ours. I sharpen his knives all the time. About twice a year, I sharpen his brother's knives. Yeah. Oh, that's terrible news.
That's terrible news.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that.
Well, what else? Is it time for us to go? Because Chris Garbatage told us we had to stop making the show go longer than an hour, and we've been on an hour 9.
Yeah.
And
now these days, I don't. If I see a phone, like if I see Knifewear Edmonton calling, I just don't answer the phone. He can't yell at me if I don't talk to him.
I remember. Do you remember when we used to drink on the show, and then he used to text us, try to give us shit?
I know for a fact that he's in a meeting today, and he can't, and he's not watching.
Oh, we should. Whoever can say the meanest thing about him on the comments, we'll put it on the screen. In fact, say something mean, and we'll put it on the screen anyway. That is such a good idea.
Oh, Ivan has a question. Ivan Kasich. Don't know if you can help with this, but do you have some estimate on shipping costs from you guys to somewhere Central Europe, not EU? Let's say value of up to €1,000, 1,500 Canadian.
I have the answer, Chris Lord.
Kevin has the answer.
And I might look like a fool, but we should have live shipping rates on our website. So load up your order you want and then go to pay, and then we'll tell you how much shipping is going to cost. Boom. So it should give you exact price rather than my guess.
Okay.
And if Ivan, if that doesn't work, you can send an email to
Hello at knifewear.com.
Kevin at knifewear.com and really
you.
tell me I'm full of garbage. So if it works, and I hope it does, it should just give you a live rate. And if it doesn't work, it might be something weird going on with the website, or there might be something weird going on about that destination, because there are some destinations that are weird, like Israel is a hard one for us to ship knives to, for example. But yeah, send me an email, and I'll get it sorted out by the appropriate people that know what they're doing. Because to be honest, Chris and I have different roles, and shipping to anywhere is not our top thing.
No.
So we're just good looking, like male models, right? Raise your eyebrows, Chris. Smile without your eyes. Stop smiling.
I don't know how to do that.
That's your model.
I have a hard time.
That's your model.
That's my model face. I've seen that. Video. Admiral Longstash has a good knife question.
He does not, but he's got a long mustache.
But I know that I know how you feel about these things. Is it possible to make a better knife using Shirogami 1 or Aogami 2 than if you would make it using Aogami Super?
Can I answer? Do you want to answer?
I think you should answer, because maybe I have a different answer. I might have like a real shithead answer.
The answer is yes, if you're bad at using AS and good at using S1.
I was going to say you could do a bad job on purpose.
And when you say what's a better knife, what is a beter knife?
Yeah.
Because Hinura-san's knives are pretty pricey, and he uses Shirogami 2. And his knives are about $1,400 a knife. And I wouldn't say they're bad. And I wouldn't say,
no,
a Hadayuki knife made with AS is any better. In fact, I would say it's less better. Less better? That's a fun one. Less better. It's less better.
Less better.
So it depends on what you're gauging better on, right?
Yeah.
And what their skills are, right? Because every blacksmith has certain skills they prefer working with.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And yeah, maybe you're just super skilled at using Shirogami 1, and you don't have a lot of experience with Aogami Super, because you have to be tighter with the temperature ranges, for example, on Aogami. And the annealing process is a little bit more complicated in the fact that you have to keep the temperatures in a tighter range. So yeah, there. I hope that answers your question. What were you going to say, Chris?
I was gonna be a shithead about it. I was gonna say, I was gonna go along with, what makes a better knife, that kind of thing. But I think, Kevin really hit the nail on the head there with they're different materials, right? So, in theory, the swear jar's downstairs.
Coins, money out of your pocket on the table, Mr. Using a bad word.
You know what? The swear jar's got like $350.
I owe you some money for that one too.
So, but yeah, it's just it really comes down to in my opinion, it comes down to who's making it and what are their intentions, right? Because like Fujiwara, like a Maburoshi. I think a Fujiwara Maburoshi kicks the snot out of a lot of people's Aogami Super.
Oh, yep. That's called craftsmanship.
So, and then that's why the Denka is so crazy. It's Aogami Super, but it outperforms a ton of other stuff.
Gliding Edge has a really good question here. Do we have any advice for heat treating of Shirogami Ni? Or white steel 2. And the advice I have for that is talk to a blacksmith, or even better, talk to the manufacturer of the steel. They'll know better. I have made a number of knives poorly. I'm not a blacksmith. I can give you advice on how to make hollandaise sauce, though. Use more butter than everybody ever tells you when you use for making hollandaise sauce. Your eggs can hold way more fat than conventional hollandaise sauce. I'll tell you, they'll say for a pound of clarified butter, use 6 egg yolks. That's kind of like the normal. I'll use 2 for a pound of butter. but it's so fatty. Make sure you use enough salt and enough acidity, whether it's a squeeze of lemon or a reduction. Use enough acidity to balance the extra fat. But you want that hollandaise sauce sitting right on the edge of falling apart at any second now, and it's amazing.
Yeah. I agree
so that's
with
my
that.
advice about Shirogami too. Sorry, we're idiots about that.
Yeah.
We're really smart about lots of stuff, though.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
Smart, really.
You were telling me how you had just pulled the whole engine out of your motorcycle and had it sitting in your living room on the kitchen table, and then your wife got angry.
That's not true, but it's not a crazy thing to happen in my house. It's yet to happen.
Okay.
There are motorcycle parts all over.
You are very good at lots of things, Mr. Chris Lord, and not just being good looking.
I wouldn't say I even contend when it comes to advice about heat treating steel, though. Because where Kevin made several knives poorly, I made one very poorly. So, yeah. You just want me to tell you about knives. You don't want me to make you a knife.
Listen, Fight Newsick says he's been reading a book about anti-gravity, and he just can't put it down.
I thought we were going to make it without puns, but
same thing happened to me, Fight Newsick. I was reading a book about super glue, and I just couldn't put it down.
You guys read boring books.
And I just won the award. Look at that. Won the award for best dad joke of the day.
I don't know what Grant is talking about here. About how the hell would you make hollandaise sauce sous vide? You know what? I had a sous vide machine at the restaurant I owned, and I only figured out how to use it for like cooking meat. I never did anything else with that contraption, and maybe I'm just a curmudgeon.
You know what, Chris? This plays right into the text I got from a buddy of mine who's big into barbecue, and he was showing me this new probe that is 4 probes in one, so you can stick it in 4 different parts of a meat or in 4 different pieces that you're smoking and get an accurate to your phone temperature on all of those pieces. And he's like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And I said, "I don't use one." And he says, "Oh, do you have a probe attached to your smoker?" I said, "Yes, but I don't use that either." I like the challenge of just cooking. So the idea of sous vide. If I had a catering company, all my meats would be sous vide because it'd be easy and idiot-proof, right? But at home, I don't bother, and I don't sous vide. The hollandaise. I just think that a lot of these specialist techniques take away the skill and the romance and the awesomeness. Personally,
that would be a thing I learned in culinary school. Was how to make hollandaise. That would be a top 10 thing I learned in culinary school.
There were things we learned at culinary school. Roll a joint. Hollandaise. Bake bread poorly. How to ice a cake. I learned how to ice a cake.
I still can't do
that. Good at it. I learned how to switch the salt and sugar label in the bakery for hilarious results. It was so bad in that kitchen that you never knew which one was right. So you'd have to taste it every time you were going to use salt or sugar, every single time. Learned how to put salt in the coffee maker for the chefs. That was good.
That's mean.
Learned how to put Tabasco in the straw of somebody's drink instead of in the drink because it might discolor the drink.
Yeah, I've done that one. I've done the straw at the.
I apparently didn't learn much at cooking school. I learned how to make an omelet properly, like a French style, really soft omelet. I learned that.
Fighting Usyk, how much time is spent on teaching knife techniques? There was 1 hour, maybe 2 hours on my first day.
My first day, that was the very first thing we did when we went in the kitchen, and the chef, his name was Max Eater, Chef Eater, came out and put the first aid kit in the middle of the table and then said, "Everybody take out your knives. This is how to use a honing rod. This is how to cut an onion." And then everybody proceeded to cut themselves. It was shocking. I didn't. I already knew how to use a knife. I thought it was the stupidest day ever. But these idiots just were like, man, it was a bloodbath. It was shocking. It was shocking. Yeah. It was shocking.
I just got a text back from Naoto. If Fred is still watching, there are 18 Takeda bunkas sitting in a customs office. So make sure you're on the wait list, and then you'll get a heads up. So it'll be relatively soon.
It could be anywhere between tomorrow and 3 weeks from now.
Yeah. I'm going to scroll back a little bit. DJ, what do you think about the 195 Fujiwaras compared to the 210? The difference of 1 centimeter, does it really make a difference? You know what? I always thought I wanted a 195, and then the 210 is just better.
I would get the 195 if you want something unique, but the 210 is a better size. Otherwise, I'd have a 195, and I got 3 210s.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
And also, it's 1.5 centimeters.
That's true. Grant says when you're doing the hollandaise, you just put everything in the bag, cook it for 45 minutes, and blend it. You know what? I would be willing to try it, Grant.
I can't.
To see if it's. I would.
I can't.
Because
it's like getting a Roomba.
I'm gonna be honest.
I just can't do it.
I'll be honest. Like, I go to a diner, I order eggs Benedict. I know they're using Knorr powder. I still eat it. I still like it.
You know
I'll
what?
try his way.
You make me sick. I like making a hollandaise. Chris, I already told you that. If I had to go back to being a cook, I would just do breakfast.
Yeah. Well, the day when we finished
I actually like breakfast cookery.
When we finished our $24 challenge for the week, I made eggs Benedict for myself. I ate 3 of them, and then for dinner I had $100 steak, so it's fine.
Tell us about the $24 challenge, because that was a really big thing, I thought.
Yeah. So earlier this year, Kevin, Alex, the assistant manager here in Ottawa, and myself did the $24 challenge with Operation Come Home, which is a charity that we support here in Ottawa. They work with at-risk and street youth to try to help them, I don't know, get sorted. I guess they're like an employment-based charity.
Their statement is, we want to prevent
homeless
youth
from becoming homeless adults. Yeah. And they but this is like $24 is the amount of money after rent, after bus pass, after whatever, like everything's been budgeted. $24 is usually what's left for groceries. So what they do is, in an effort to raise money, people volunteer to live off the $24. And Kevin, Alex, and myself did it. And I ate beans and rice every day for 3 meals a day.
I was hungry, miserable, and I lost 9 pounds that week.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I traded Alex like a cup of salt for a handful of tea bags so I could drink something other than water.
I drank this.
Oh, yeah. You've still got that sitting on your desk, eh?
Yeah. Here it is.
Yeah. Yeah, the instant coffee. Gross.
Look at the price I paid. $1. And it was disgusting. That's why I still have most of it left.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Chris, I'm wrapping this up for you for Christmas, so we can remember the challenge. So I got a Christmas present for you already lined up. I can tell you now, because you'll forget by then. And when you open it up, you'll see things like, "Oh, he did! What a guy!"
Oh, you rascal! Gliding edge. How short can a chef's knife be without losing its usability? 5
I like how you put up the question that was hard to answer and then just didn't talk about it and then just put up a next present.
Oh, shit. I forgot. I didn't. That's not hard to answer. I love SLD steel. I prefer it to Ginsan and VG10. I have several knives made by Masashi-san out of SLD, and I think it's amazing. I like to sharpen it because it sharpens up easy, and it gets very sharp, and it makes a really good working knife. So, But I would say it's still like in the same realm as VG10, like it's and Ginsan, like it's as far as like care and what you can expect from for like brittleness and things like that. I'd say it's all very similar.
But I'm gonna go back to my original comment that it depends what the blacksmith likes working with. For example, Anrasan loved working with VG10, and his VG10 knives were amazing. But as far as I know, he's never used SLD. So if I'm talking about VG10 from Anrasan versus SLD from Anrasan, I'll take the VG10 every time.
Yeah.
So again, it depends on a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
Chris, what is your favorite stainless steel? DJ says R2 because so many blacksmiths do incredible knives with it. Well, do you prefer R2 or SG2?
I prefer the SRS 15 in the Haruyuki Kumas and the Yokumas.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's the first Japanese knife I bought, was that steel. It was that knife. It was a 180 Santoku from that line. And I love that. I love that knife.
Kevin was trying to trick me because R2 and SG2 are practically the same thing. Yeah, I didn't fall for it.
What a tricky trickster.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I really am a big fan of VG10.
Yeah.
It's not cool to say that, I know. Big knife nerds will say, VG10, that's not cool steel. But you know what it is? Bloody good steel.
You know what I like too?
It's super wear resistant. It's super chip resistant. And in the right hands, wow, it sings. Like an Anderson.
I really like AUS 8 too.
You
know what? I had this discussion with
my favorite Yanagiba I use is AUS 8.
Yeah. I had this discussion with the staff today. I like knives as much as I like really pretty knives that are like super sharp and super scalpels and all this. I know that's what everybody wants me to say, but I really like knives that I can kick the crap out of.
Have you seen these new guys?
I saw a picture today. Yeah.
These have just arrived in Calgary. I'm trying to get my phone to...
Oh, you got it there. Yeah.
These are the new Haruyuki AUS 10 swirled Damascus. These are thin, shockingly beautiful. Can you see the pattern on that one?
It's hard on your phone there.
Yeah, sorry. But beautiful, and they should take a hammering as well. And they're stainless, there's no issues. Dude, I'm so excited by these, and I like the feel of them a lot. They're going to be on the website right away, called Haruyuki Nami, Nami. Haruyuki Nami. And yeah, there you go. And it's got a one-piece oak, slightly burnt handle on it. So you can see the texture on the oak handle a little bit, the color come through. Big fan. Big fan. And the 165 Santoku is $240.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, great price. Super great price.
Here, we've got, we skipped a question there. Gliding Edge was asking about how short can a chef's knife be without losing its usability. You know what? This is, it's kind of a difficult question, right? Because, like, do you want that chef knife to be perfect for absolutely every job?
240.
You know, anything shorter than that, you're not going to get to cut melons and pumpkins.
Do you know what? I like a small chef's knife, and I like a big chef's knife.
Yeah.
Depends,
I have a 150. I have a 150 Gyuto from Kagura-san that I use a lot.
There's a reason why a 165 millimeter Santoku is so popular, right? It's a really easy knife to use. Yeah. But does it feel great when you're cutting a watermelon or those huge onions or a cabbage? Absolutely not. It's too small. But also, I think about golf clubs and hockey sticks, right? Height and size matter.
Yeah.
With what you're comfortable with, also what your skill level is and what your confidence level is. I can use a 360 millimeter Gyuto. I've got one. I can use it easy enough because I'm a big guy and confident with a knife, right?
Yeah.
Is it too big? Yeah, it's too big. Is it fun? Sure it is. But I can use a Santoku as well. But I actually think for home, a 210 millimeter Gyuto chef's knife is great. And then for a restaurant, 240 to 270 at a restaurant's great. But I know you use smaller knives in kitchens, didn't you?
Yeah, it depends. Like I still stick by like a 240 as my favorite size. But depends on where I worked. Like, like the Wellington Gastropub had a really small kitchen, so I used a 210 for the most part, and I would use like a 150 petty online for like carving meat and stuff like duck breasts and things like that. But yeah, no, I don't use a Santoku for anything. Oh, I saw that picture too. That's pretty unique.
As things that have finally arrived, a Takamura Nikiri. This one is Chromax steel. It's the Tsuchimi ones, and it's got that same burnt oak handle that last line from Hariyuki had, and it's $199. $199 for a Takamura stainless Nikiri. First Nikiris he's made.
Oh wow,
that's so exciting! That's so exciting.
Like, did he not even make, like, was there ever like a Nikiri in like the Hana line? Like, do you remember? I've only ever seen.
I've never seen any Nikiri from.
No way. That's pretty cool.
That's why Naoto in his lab jacket is holding that knife and saying, "Finally."
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Got someone says, who do you consider to be great at VG10 behind Anderson? Tomo and Sayaka from Tojiro Atelier. It used to be called Sugimori knives.
Yeah.
I think they're killer. I think they're great. They're those knives are amazing. Take a beating, and they feel like they're going to get stuck in food because they feel like they might be cut like an axe, but they don't because the way they're ground, because they're very good at doing what they do.
Yeah, and I would even say, I really like the Takamura ones too. When we see those, those VG10 knives are really awesome. Yeah.
Good thinking. Yes. Yeah. DJ says, who do you think the next big blacksmith to retire? Saji has retired already. Camo, which one? There's a few. If you're talking about big Camo, he's got a few more years. If you're talking about little Camo, he's going to be around for a while. He's younger than me. Takeda-san, soon probably. Hinora-san, probably soon. But yeah, there. Saji's already retired, so there you go. That's your answer. Yeah. Of course, Saji's idea of retirement is that he goes to work every single day.
Yeah.
Are Sakai knives definitely better than other Japanese knives? Sakai knives have the reputation in Japan as being the best knives because they use whatever. If that was the case, we'd only carry Sakai knives, and we carry very few. I think the Sakai knives are very, very good. I think the fit and finish is very, very good, but I think a lot of them are very, very, very expensive for small improvements. But yeah, they're very nice, but I don't know. It's like saying, is Gucci the best belt because it's the most expensive?
Yeah.
I think Sakai is, though Sakai is a town, it's not a brand name. It does kind of trade as a brand name.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for certain things, like if you're looking for Hanyaki, go to Sakai.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some pretty cool stuff.
And that was a 165. Chromax Nikiri. I'm going to check here, and it doesn't say, but I'm pretty sure it's a 165. I don't think there's anything weird about it, which means weird means different than 165. That is like the normal size for a Nikiri and for a Santoku in Japan.
Well, Gliding Edge is asking because I want to make a light chef's knife for a woman who has weak hand strength. That's why I'm asking about length. So
Make
in
a
that
165. Make a 165 millimeter santoku, and make it as thin and light as possible. Therefore, also make it sharp.
Yeah.
That's my advice, because the people that have that sort of situation that come in the shop tend to gravitate toward a really thin santoku.
Yeah. And you know what? Something that I learned recently, like I would put, and this might sound crazy, but I would put a like more of a bigger handle on it. People who don't have a lot of hand strength can't often close their hand around a thin handle. So if you're going for a Japanese style handle, I would make it a little bit bigger. And if you're doing a Western handle, I might pick a lighter material, but make the handle a little more substantial. Yeah, I learned that helping out a couple of older ladies a couple of years ago who had quite bad arthritis. So it was very good advice for me. So, do you think we should
Chris,
maybe wrap it up here?
Can I share a funny thing with you, Chris?
Yes.
Kasumi
Yes.
just sent me a message. I asked her if she wanted to go out for a glass of champagne with me this afternoon, because I think she's been doing a really great job running her shop. And I wanted to go out for a glass of champagne with her after work. And what do you think she said?
She probably said she had too many knives to sharpen. She was going to stay there till midnight and sharpen all the knives.
Nah, she isn't. She said, where? Because she's deciding whether it's worth her while.
Oh, nice.
Depending on where we're going.
Nice.
Which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, Andrea, if you're trying to separate yourself from Sakai, we got a ton of great stuff. Like you were asking about, if you're curious about SLD, buy a Masashi knife.
Yes. If you're curious about SLD, buy Masashi for sure.
If you're curious
100%.
about SLD, you want something really cool that's a little less mainstream, Masashi all the way. And then as far as shipping and import taxes to Italy, all of that's calculated on the website. As far as import taxes, we don't really have anything to do with that.
That's your government.
Yeah, but we do have links where you could get a bit of an estimate based on what you're paying. It's kind of make your way through the purchasing process, and then you'll see some more information related to that. But we really don't have any control over import taxes or anything like that. Otherwise, we get smacked around a bunch.
Whatever the EU charges for imports from abroad, I don't really know. And it depends. They might charge you the import duty based on Canadian or based on Japan, where it's the country of origin. So, because sometimes they get it wrong, and I don't know. They both might have different amounts.
Yeah, that's about, it's kind of boring, that part, but it's kind of part of it.
He says that's about roughly 50%. What do you mean 50%? Is it 50% tax from the EU? I'd be surprised by that. Yeah. It's probably like 7, but I don't know. Again,
I don't know either.
That's got to do with your country. That's got to do with your country, not me. And I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, what? Let's start running. I got my show notes here. I cut them in half earlier. But next week, I'm gonna start with the wind up. So if you got a few more questions, get them in. We'll do our best to get to them. But at first we were very like Chris Armitage we're not going to listen to him, and an hour's an hour. But now it's like, oh shit, now it's an hour and 40 minutes. So now we got to smarten up a little bit here. So next week is Sharp Knives Rock on Monday at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. So 5 p.m. here in Ontario. And it's the chef episode. So we're going to have an interview with the chef, Darby of Joey Calgary. We're giving away a knife roll jam-packed full of toys. It's valued at over $500. We're going to have Nick from the Foul English is going to hang out with us. some more, more chopstick challenge, more dish pit shenanigans.
And there's going to be a video of me doing a prep shift for a really busy restaurant.
Yeah,
I'm terrified.
Were you doing that tomorrow?
I'm doing that Thursday, and it's going to be on the Monday show. But I'm so scared, man. And Chris or Kevin Law says he's got whites for me, except I'm way bigger than him. So
yeah, that'll be good.
So I'm scared that I'm gonna be bursting the poor chef's shirt at the seams.
Oh, you rip it like the Hulk.
And sweating and crying.
Yeah.
I'm so scared.
Just make sure you're entertaining. That's all.
Well, the sweating and crying will probably be very entertaining. I'll have to have my hair back.
Oh yeah, you might have to put it up in one of their little pillbox hats.
So I'm gonna have to get one of them little. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to get one of them hats and probably put my hair in a man bun.
Yeah.
And I might have to wear a
beard net. Yeah, it's all possible. It's all possible. So.
Oh, I'm terrified.
All right.
That's going to be awful. So tune in on Monday to watch me cry while trying to complete a prep shift and to do it badly.
Oh. Well, you'll probably do a better job than I would have. I'd be all surly, and I don't know I'd take direction very well, to be honest, in that environment anymore. It'd be
and this is a kitchen I know nothing about. This is a kind of cooking that's very different from what I was doing at the end of my career. So who knows, man? Who knows? So that'll be fun. And we're giving away that knife roll with everything in it except a knife, which is brilliant, I think.
So, no, it looks like in the comments they're figuring out duties and taxes. Better for you guys to talk about it than involve us.
Again, I don't know. I don't make the rules in the EU, so I don't really know what your rules for duty and taxes are. I know that importing into Canada, if it's below a certain amount of dollars, there's nothing. There's no duty. So if it's cheap enough, there's nothing. So I don't know. And no, we're not going to start lying on.
No, we can't do that.
Sometimes, Chris, it makes me crazy. They're like, "Oh, I know the knife costs $200, but can you just say it costs $50 on the invoice?" No, that's called fraud. And
we get in a lot of trouble.
Playing
get caught doing something like that.
Oh my God, could you imagine? No.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I don't know. Keep an eye on social media for when we're back at this. I know we're figuring out we're doing the show next week, and then we'll have some sharpening happening the week after that. Nathan hasn't told me what thing we're not going to talk about the next time we do this. So, we at least mentioned a couple things we learned in culinary school. I didn't get all 10 though.
Okay, we got to get 10. Holiday sauce?
Yeah.
10 times. I learned
a bunch of things that didn't, and I don't mean this to be I don't mean to be troublesome, but I learned a lot of stuff that would have been very useful had I gone into a different career set. I worked in kind of privately owned smaller restaurants. So the day I used the tilt skillet in culinary school didn't come into handy later on. Didn't actually come in handy until I later taught culinary school. So,
we were supposed to say like and subscribe. Nobody liked the video today, by the way, Chris. I just checked it out.
A single one?
We got like 3 likes or something.
I'll do it. So
you guys have to like this, or we're not allowed to do it again. And also, there you go. Andrea, who has quizzed us and we've answered all his questions, says, I prefer to buy from Japan. So there you go.
Yeah. There, I liked it. I liked it too. Kevin.
You liked it? Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I did.
Maybe if the rest of you guys liked it kind of a little bit, and then, or don't, because if we don't get 30 likes, Armitage always says we're fired. We'll be canceled.
Yet to do it. I think he's full of hot air, that guy.
Oh my goodness. All right. Sorry, it's been a pleasure. It has been an absolute pleasure.
All right. Likewise. I will chat with you soon.
Thanks. Signing out from Calgary, Knifewear, Canada.
Boom.
Ciao.